Hello and thanks for joining us on NTA Nationwide. I am Joy Usiago. Welcome. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) says it has 26 vessels of petrol on standby, while 6 others have been discharging since Tuesday this week. The management of NNPC told the Senate committee downstream on inspection visit to filling stations that about 30 million metric tons of fuel is coming into the country. National Assembly correspondent Rabi Musa completes the report.
The management of NNPC, comprising the representative of the group managing director and the managing director of PPMC, said 93 million litres of petrol had since been distributed to Abuja and environs, apart from others distributed across the country, while the Department of Petroleum Resources had been directed to ensure 24-hour sale.
We have told most of the depots that they should start immediately 24-hour service to double our truck out, so that in another 1 week, everywhere will be filled with product.
But NNPC still maintain what BPRA has set as a cap, which is 133.28 naira per litre.
NNPC needs to tell us, because part of what the marketers are saying is they cannot import PNS at the prevailing contract given to them.
The Senate committee downstream, led by its chairman, Senator Kabiru Marafa, had inspected petrol stations in Abuja to ensure that the product is not hoarded and sales are ongoing.
Saying that we are satisfied, because we don't want to tell them that we are satisfied so that they can go to sleep. No, they must be up and doing. They have tried, but their best is not good enough for us. Yes, so we demand more from them.
The oversight is expected to continue to ensure that Nigerians are not frustrated during the festive period. Rabi Musa, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria has blamed the current fuel queues on the inability of depot owners to sell petroleum products to them at the stipulated price of 133 naira 28 kobo, thereby forcing their members to pay more. The national president of the Independent Petroleum Marketers, Obasi Lawson, made the revelation while speaking on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria. Kunle Adeyeye reports.
The queues have resurfaced in the filling stations across the country, and Nigerians are worried over the return of the dark days. What could be responsible for this latest development? With assurances by the petroleum and products marketing company that there is enough supply, there appears to be no reason for the scarcity of petroleum products.
At the moment, we have over 25 days sufficiency of petrol. We have 30 ships of imports coming, on average 1 a day. We have 2 refineries working, Port Harcourt and Kaduna. We have strategic reserve, which we stored in anticipation of any potential shortages in some of our depots.
However, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria claimed that the problem goes deeper, as its members are cajoled by depot owners to pay more or risk blacklisting, a situation that is partly responsible for the current queues.
The problem is because we, as independent petroleum marketers, we are not part of the distribution exercise. We need to be part of the distributions.
The Department of Petroleum Resources says it reported cases of sharp practices.
We also have the stick to deal with the other private depot, including NNPC depot, should they try to play some game.
The guests called for penalties on those who are found to be sabotaging government's efforts to make life easier for Nigerians. In Abuja, Kunle Adeyeye, NTA News.
And for a bit on the slave trade issue in Libya, the pains and feelings of abuse of human dignity that followed the story of the death of 26 female migrants and the allegation of slave trade in Libya necessitated an investigative hearing by a joint House of Representatives committee. Contrary to allegations that all the 26 girls were Nigerians, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons said only 2 of them were confirmed to be Nigerians. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Onkwo reports.
This investigative hearing by the House Joint Committees on Human Rights and Foreign Affairs followed the resolution of the House to intervene in the inhuman stories of 26 migrants' deaths alleged to be all Nigerians and claims of slave trade in Libya. Abdul Rahim Shaibu read a submission from the Director General of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons on the number of Nigerians involved in the Mediterranean Sea disaster in November.
When I finally arrived in Italy, I was informed by the Italian officials that out of the 26 dead women, only 3 were identified as Nigerians.
Officials of Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Department of State Security called for more synergy in addressing the social problem.
Whether you'll be able to identify the routes that Nigerians use to get into Libya.
We discovered that certain group from certain state choose Libya as their destination.
For Nigeria, it is a national security problem, and that is where the DSS is concerned.
People have been arrested in Italy in connection with this matter.
Meanwhile, Speaker Yakubu Dogara, who has been worried by the scourge of human trafficking, believes that the strengthening of local government administration in Nigeria will reduce the high rate of migration. Dogara was speaking when he received the Grassroots Development Award from the Association of Local Government of Nigeria, ALGON, and the Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees, NOLGE.
And if we don't address those conditions at the grassroots by generating more opportunities, certain ills that we seek to overcome may not be overcome.
The union commended the House of Representatives under Speaker Yakubu Dogara for passing the bill seeking to provide autonomy for local government in Nigeria, which at the moment awaits the approval of state assemblies. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
A parliamentary conference on legislative actions for the containment of small arms proliferation and terrorist financing in ECOWAS sub-region is discussing ways of strengthening national and regional laws to curb the trend. Speaker Yakubu Dogara, who declared the conference open, stressed the need for enactment of laws to make arms possession difficult. Joseph O'Rourke reports that the conference is at the instance of ECOWAS, Parliament and National Institute for Legislative Studies.
The prevalence of violence, conflicts and political crises in the African continent becomes prominent since mid-2000. This has largely been linked to proliferation of small arms, and more than half of illegal arms in circulation are made locally. This conference is to create a forum for dialogue and consultation among parliamentarians and stakeholders towards effective implementation of security policies bordering around terrorism.
The Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, are being hampered by the high level of insecurity in the West African sub-region. The sub-region has suffered from intra- and intercommunal feuds, local wars, armed insurrections, armed rebel activities, and terrorism, all of which have led to the proliferation of small arms and light weapons.
There is nothing small about small arms in terms of the effects of their proliferation. Small arms and light weapons are responsible for 90% of victims in small conflicts globally.
Participants are expected to have a deepened understanding of the underlying factors responsible for cross-border transnational crimes and terrorism within the sub-region to strengthen regulatory frameworks against the prevalence of small arms. Joseph O'Rourke, NTA News.
The federal government has conferred the 2017 Nigerian National Order of Merit Award on 2 distinguished Nigerians, Professor Adesoji Adeshina and Paul Obrakpeya, for creative and academic contributions that are of national and global importance. State House correspondent Jide Onifade covered the investiture held at the State House in Abuja.
Since inception 38 years ago, the board of the National Merit Award has identified and selected 75 awardees At a brief ceremony held at the council chamber of the presidential villa, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says he is extremely proud to welcome the two laureates to the prestigious League of Distinguished Nigerians, who are bestowed with the highest award of the land.
Each one of them has epitomized the finest of Nigeria's capacity for innovation and creativity.
Professor Adeshoji Adeshino received the Nigerian National Order of Merit Award based on his feat in the field of engineering technology. His research works in the last 3 decades are said to have made groundbreaking contributions to mining, renewable energy, petrochemical, environmental and wastewater treatment technologies, defense and manufacturing. Onobra Peya is a well-known African artist and arguably the most resourceful and innovative among his contemporaries. He discovered plastography, a technique by which designs are engraved on plastic, inked and printed on another receptive surface, a technique now widely used by artists in Nigeria and abroad. His work has earned him over 30 national and international awards and appointments, and is presently member of the Order of the Republic of Nigeria, MFR.
Nigeria is a nation of great people and talent. Indeed, our human capital is the greatest gift and resource that we have, not our crude oil or solid minerals or land. Posterity calls on us, the Nigerian elite, the intellectual, business, and religious leadership, which has the responsibility, and we are called upon to work to ensure that this resource does not remain stranded at the level of potential, but that it is instead harnessed and exploited for the good of the country and all its people. Posterity will not forgive us for doing anything less.
The Vice President says the award is a tall order, calling on the recipients to pass on their vast experiences to young Nigerians for a greater Nigeria. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Provision of conducive environment and improved welfare package have been identified as pivotal towards having a result-oriented and productive workforce. This was the submission by labor leaders at a seminar on effective labor management relations. Linda Ogidi reports.
As the federal government puts employee-friendly labor policies in place to ensure efficiency in the system, building the capacities of the human resources base is also cardinal. This informed the gathering of labor executives with the policy direction of the federal government. For the Ministry of Labor and Employment, nonchalant attitude by workers in their places of primary assignment and being antagonistic to effort by government in correcting the abnormalities within the system will no longer be accepted.
The deception we experienced recently was a result of a number of economic challenges that this administration is trying to address. But then to succeed, it will require adequate industrial harmony.
There should be that symbiotic relationship between management and labor. After all, it is labor that creates the wealth. If they seize their tools or down their tools, there is no productivity. And when there is no productivity, there can never be gains of productivity.
Training of this nature, the Ministry of Labor and Employment says, will be on a continuous basis until the desired standards are achieved in the system. In Abuja, Linda Ogidi, NTA News.
Amalgamation of youth organizations under the auspices of Katsina Youth for Sustainable Change and National Union of Road Transport Workers, Katsina State Branch, have organized a rally in support of President Muhammadu Buhari for his efforts towards political and socio-economic growth. Aminu Ishaq reports.
The Solidarity Rally is to appreciate and show more support to President Muhammadu Buhari in his determination to put the country on a sound and sustainable path of development. While chanting Solidarity song to pass their message, the organizations identify selfless service to the nation by President Buhari as a roadmap to reinventing the country. Presented a letter of solidarity to Governor Aminu Bello Masari for onward delivery to the President, the leadership of the associations said Nigerians will continue to align with APC administration at state and federal levels. The Chairman, National Union of Road Transport Workers Union, Kaduna State Branch, Alhaji Haruna Mohammed, said the union is satisfied with the measures taken by the Buhari administration to ensure security of motorists on highways. He said members of the union in Kaduna State will continue to pray and support President Muhammadu Buhari. Also speaking, youth leader, Kaduna State Youth for Sustainable Change, Murtala Muhammad Kusada, noted with satisfaction steps taken by President Buhari to provide jobs to youth in the country.
We are supporting the government 100%. We are ready to contribute a lot.
Governor Amini Bello Masari thanked the organizations for identifying with President Buhari. He described President Buhari as an epitome of discipline, decency, hard work, and tolerance. Governor Amini Bello Masari said the administration will continue to emulate leadership style of President Muhammadu Buhari by being just and fair. In Kaduna, Amini Shakabas, NTA News.
Now, with solid waste management gradually becoming the most pressing environmental challenge faced by urban and rural areas of Nigeria, environmental experts are advocating the promotion of a more efficient recycling system in the country. The Japan International Cooperation Agency Alumni Association of Nigeria and other stakeholders at a one-day seminar on waste management in Abuja encouraged waste separation at source for efficient management and recycling. Justin Bem-Uyi has the report.
In every society, waste generation is unavoidable. Nigeria generates more than 32 million tons of solid waste annually, out of which only 20 to 30% is collected. Improper collection and disposal of municipal wastes, professionals say, is leading to an environmental catastrophe. The call now is the need for its appropriate management. And JICA Alumni Association of Nigeria and JICA Nigeria office say to keep the environment clean and utilize the resources as many as possible, waste separation at source is the first step of any recycling activities.
So if Nigeria wants to utilize the resources in the waste more efficiently, recycling sector must be developed, enhanced, and all the citizens must understand the importance of your roles at home. That is a source separation at source.
The moment we're able to separate waste, then there are recyclers. Like I said, JICA is collaborating with AEPB in producing, affordable recycling machines. The benefits of waste separation is enormous. It generates employment, it generates raw materials. You understand? It creates a very healthy environment. And we felt people should know this.
When you recycle, it will help us to meet our ambitious decision to curb our source of greenhouse gases.
The forum left with a charge to the government to create an activity-friendly environment for the private sector engaged in recycling at community level and to the private sector to treat the waste by them in accordance with the law. In Abuja, Justin Bem-Uyi, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on NTA. Let's join Ademola in Lagos for stories making the rounds from that zone. Ademola, it's always good to see you.
It's good to see you too, Joy. Thanks for joining us in Lagos. Morocco's quest for membership of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has continued to elicit divergent views. A roundtable at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, NIIA, focused on Morocco's quest for membership and the implications for Nigeria. Ken Igbeluhe has the details.
West African Regional Group ECOWAS has in principle approved Morocco's membership application despite the country being in North Africa. But ECOWAS leaders who met in Liberia said the implications of its membership still needed to be considered before Morocco could finally join in. The roundtable discussion organized by the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs provided opportunity for speakers to further illustrate the implications of Morocco's membership and what it portends to Nigeria and the sub-region.
Reject the application completely, but instruct the Commission to work out a special relationship between Morocco and ECOWAS
In as much as we have the clout, we have the population, we have the resources as Nigeria, we've not been able to strategically use it to tell these countries that the coming of Morocco into ECOWAS in particular will be detrimental to Nigeria's national interest.
If war breaks out here in the West African sub-region, Morocco is far removed in terms of the consequences. If there is refugee flow, Morocco will not be affected. It is Nigeria that will be affected.
Other speakers are of the view that Morocco's desire to join ECOWAS could be seen from the point that it wants to expand its frontiers beyond its own region.
One can imagine that in attempting to join ECOWAS, it is one way of expanding its influence, getting more involved in African affairs, and then for ECOWAS being an economic organization, of course there is an economic benefit also.
Observers are of the view that Nigeria's government should exercise caution in supporting Morocco's membership, but rather consider its implications firsthand. In Lagos, Ken Egbeluge, NTA News.
More Nigerians are being evacuated from Libya as concerned efforts by the federal government, the African Union and the European Union continue to yield positive results. This was evident when 2 Libyan airlines arrived at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, with a combined population of 401 returnees. Musa Toliat has the details.
People died. Even that desert, my friends died in my presence.
Tales of woe were told by these Nigerians as they narrated their ordeal after disembarking from the Libyan aircraft at the international airport in Lagos. Barely 7 hours after the first flight brought home 144, another flight from Libya arrived to the country with 257 Nigerians rescued from the North African country.
I don't see traveling to Libya is even, you are even supposed to even think about it.
I'm back right now. Is to make my country a better place.
Senior Special Assistant to the President on Foreign Affairs and the Diaspora, Abikeda Birerewa, and the wife of the Lagos State Governor, Abolanle Ambode, ensured that the returnees were well received and stabilized.
Now there's a problem with getting the detention cells outside Tripoli. You can't even get there, but with the AU-EU intervention, order must be given to Libya to release all detainees outside Tripoli.
Various international humanitarian agencies, including the International Organization for Migration and officials of Future Assured, the pet project of the president's wife, Aisha Buhari, were on hand to offer material support to the returnees.
The victims of human trafficking will be living here for NAPTIP shelter. We have caregivers there.
They will now, be asked what they want to do. Some of them already have trades.
So over until it is over, we ensure all of them get to their various destinations.
They actually go through rehabilitation, go through therapy, and then we absorb them gradually.
The federal government says it will continue to partner the International Organization for Migration to make sure that no Nigerian is left behind in the crisis-ridden Libya. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Integrating infection, prevention and control into routine healthcare practices is important to reducing the spread of infectious diseases in Nigeria. This was made known by medical experts at a roundtable to discuss findings and recommendations from a survey on infectious diseases. Joy Ken Abakoya has details.
Infectious diseases remain one of the major causes of morbidity and mortality the world over. This is due to the rapid spread of these diseases as a result of unprofessional handling of patients by medical practitioners. This roundtable is therefore to discuss the Infection Prevention Control Curriculum Project, a measure being developed to reduce healthcare-acquired infections and ensure patient safety.
Presently, most people who do infection prevention and control do it like a secondary thing. So it's not well done. And that's why you continue to have sometimes the signal for a Lassa fever. If infection prevention and control was a way of life, they won't catch it. They will treat the patient, but the healthcare worker won't catch it.
We have to draw the attention of all the health workers, everybody, policymakers, into addressing this. If you can address this, we can reduce disease occurrence.
These experts say adopting infection prevention and control measures and encouraging a career path for IPC practitioners will translate to a healthier and safer working environment for healthcare providers.
Some time ago, when this concept was introduced in a segment of our hospital, the degree of illness and the number of deaths reduced significantly.
Any training
that can help us manage and control infections better is always useful and necessary in an environment such as ours.
The Infection Prevention and Control Plan will be presented to the public next year. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakbuya, NTA News.
Christmas is a time to show love and give love to one another, particularly the underprivileged in the society. This is why the Bishop of Anglican Communion, Lagos Diocese, Adebola Ademowo, and members of the Evangelical Ministry of the Diocese of Lagos visited some prisons in Lagos to celebrate Christmas with them. Ken Egbeluhe has details.
That was the selected choir of the inmates in Ikoyi and female wing of the medium prison in Kirikiri, welcoming the Bishop of Lagos Diocese and his team. The visit re-emphasized the reason for the season. The Bishop encouraged them to keep hope alive, adding that there is always a light at the end of the tunnel.
I've told them they must not be discouraged, they must not be frustrated, they must know that Christ is with them, and by the time they are out of here, God has not written the last chapter of their lives.
These people are here does not end their hope. What I will say to them is that they should continue to be hopeful and trust that their tomorrow is wonderful.
The prison officials who were overwhelmed by the visit said such gesture will go a long way to reassure the inmates that all is not lost.
It's a feeling of being loved, being needed, and being wanted, in spite of the fact that you're behind the walls.
A female hostel block built by the women of the Lagos Diocese was commissioned and food items given to the prisons. In Lagos, Ken Egbeluge, NTA News.
And that does it from Lagos. Is back to you, Joy, for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Ademola. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, says the party will be more united after its December 9th National Elective Convention, as members are being carried along. Speaking on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria, Chairman of the National Caretaker Committee, Ahmed McCarthy, and Chairman of the Convention Committee, Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State, said there will be no imposition of candidates at the convention. Kunle Adeyeye reports.
Shortly after losing the 2015 general elections to the ruling All Progressives Congress, the People's Democratic Party was engulfed in a leadership crisis that lasted 14 months and ended at the Supreme Court. As the party tries to reinvent itself, the National Convention slated for Saturday, December 9 is seen as crucial. Chairman National Caretaker Committee, Senator Ahmed McCarthy, said the stability and progress of the party is what every member is working to achieve at the convention.
Enhance internal democracy in the party will make it more appealing to Nigeria, correct our mistakes. It's only an elected leadership with a longer tenure, that will have the capacity to follow all of this.
Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State, who chairs the convention committee, said all states will be represented while arrangements have been made to ensure that the event is hitch-free.
We want to reassure people that we're going to have a credible process. We're meeting with all the aspirants tomorrow. We're going to provide them with the delegate list because we cannot keep it hidden.
Besides the 21 positions to be contested for, the amendment of the party's constitution will also be considered. In Abuja, Kunle Adeyeye, NTA News.
Senate President Bukola Saraki says it is unacceptable that over 30 million Nigerians are still infected with the HIV/AIDS virus, representing second highest country with the infection globally. Saraki stated this while inaugurating the National Assembly Coalition Against HIV/AIDS to mark the 2017 World AIDS Day. National Assembly correspondent Rabi Musa reports.
Represented by the Senate leader, the Senate president disclosed that about 180,000 people die every year as a result of HIV/AIDS, with Nigeria recording more of the casualties, adding that it is alarming the country has the largest number of newly infected children.
1 out of every 3 children born with HIV in the world today is a Nigerian. This means that more vigorous response is required to meet the 1990 UN AIDS target of an AIDS-free generation by 2030.
The chairman of the Senate Committee on Primary Health stressed that Nigeria must end HIV/AIDS starting now, since the drugs to reduce transmission of the virus are now available.
You will see a difference as regards the eradication, treatment, and end of HIV and AIDS.
Chairman, House Committee on HIV/AIDS, Tuberculosis, Leprosy and Malaria Control, said the message would continue at constituency offices across the country.
For us to achieve that universal health coverage and for us to address the issue that has to do with HIV/AIDS, members of the parliament, senators, and the community the Committee of National Assembly must all come together under this coalition so that we can respond to the national treatment plan.
I believe it's a huge opportunity for NACA to work very closely with the legislature to address some of the challenges we have with the HIV response.
We established what is called a wellness clinic, of course because of the stigma and the discrimination that is very huge in this fight. We had to find a way to reach those who otherwise would not be reached.
To ensure that women are comfortable, they don't feel stigmatized before and after they go to get tested, because we want to ensure that we eliminate mother-to-child transmission of HIV/AIDS.
Other partners were also on hand to discharge free HIV/AIDS tests for participants, as well as provide free stress lectures. Rabi Musa, NTA News.
Meanwhile, elders in the northern region have added their voices to condemn the increased rates of the abuse of drugs and other substances in the north. Austin Anyebe reports.
Several studies carried out on causes of violent conflicts in Nigeria point to intake of illicit drugs by youth as the main cause. They link drugs to all the social vices prevalent in the northern part of the country. The concern now is that not only youth indulge in the act, but even housewives. This is the concern of the northern elders.
This is something that is going to destroy us silently. And having realized that this is something that is not easily visible, we've decided to set up, together with our youth groups and so on, a committee of experts in the various aspects of drug use, from manufacture to actual use and evaluation and so on, to sit down and give us a small blueprint in terms of what to do immediately.
For us here in the north, our biggest asset is the next generation, and the next generation is being destroyed by three things: unemployment, bad education, and drug addiction.
Members of the coalition of northern youth who were in the news recently over the agitation for secession now championing the cause to deal with the problem of drugs in the north.
Identified about three main major challenges. That's the drugs, issue of drug abuse, Almajiri issue, and unemployment. But we decided that as a priority, the drug issue should be confronted first.
The Senate President Bukola Saraki is said to have expressed worry over the consumption of substances and convened a stakeholders meeting on it in Kano. In Kaduna, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
In an effort to design a nutrition-friendly policy, especially at the community level, traditional and religious leaders in northern Nigeria are brainstorming in Kaduna to scale up nutrition intervention and food security. Eugene Ukweze reports.
UNICEF report on malnutrition in Kaduna State puts the number of children facing the scourge at nearly 1.6 million, with 3 local governments severely affected. Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, observed that insecurity in the northeast has contributed to severe food scarcity in the north, which was previously ranked among the highest in the production of major food items in the country. She called on the traditional and religious leaders to sensitize the people on the importance of nutrition.
We need to engage the states to make sure the states also have their own plans, and we need to engage the community leaders, traditional rulers, to make sure they also play their role, because they are important. They are the ones that live directly with the people trust them and respect them, and therefore when they speak to them, they will perhaps change some of the harmful traditional practices that we have. that is resulting in these high levels of malnutrition.
Wife of Kaduna State Governor Aisha Umi Garba El-Rufai called for suggestions on how best to reduce sociocultural issues restricting exclusive breastfeeding, immunization, and quality health care for proper nutrition and well-being.
Most of the cultural practices that we have today are the biggest issues that are causing malnutrition. The way our feeding practices, our men going out of the homes to eat better food and leaving the families at home.
The meeting, which had in attendance royal fathers, including the representative of Sultan of Sokoto, Al-Haji Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, was organized by National Budget and Planning Commission in collaboration with UNICEF Nigeria. In Kaduna, Eugenia Ukweze, NTA News.
Let's pause for some messages. Nationwide returns with more reports shortly.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There's no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Slavery is an evil practice abolished all over the world over 200 years ago. But today, human traffickers are selling human beings as slaves in Africa. It is your responsibility to make sure that you and the people you know do not fall into slavery. Don't believe fake promises of jobs abroad.
People went to say Libya, Italy no use you when they carry me on top water. 4 days now they lock me for inside house, no food, no water. I nearly die. Now God, when me heaven and earth, now save me. If you get 1 naira for Nigeria, you get junior one, you say you no get papa, you no get mama, now make you come out. I beg go they do farm work. You better pass person when enter road.
Don't accept to travel to Europe through the Sahara Desert. You may be walking into slavery. Don't be a slave.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
With the new StarTimes Classic Bouquet upgrade, there's something for everyone with our exciting new channels. Upgrade to Classic Bouquet and enjoy more thrilling blockbuster movies for adults and some for the whole family. Engrossing wildlife documentaries, cartoons for kids, nail-biting telenovelas for the ladies, the absolute hottest American TV shows on Fox, and all the breathtaking moments in football and other sports. But that's not all. With our StarTimes Christmas 50% offer, you can enjoy all this and much more on over 70 channels just for you this Christmas. Pay for 1 month and get 50% off the second month on any bouquet and enjoy the best Christmas with StarTimes. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
An African United Youth Development Network invites all youths and the public to the Maiden Youth Conference. Theme: the role of youths in repositioning Nigeria for sustainable economic and political development. Special guest of honor, Brigadier General S.Z. Kazaure, DG, National Youth Service Corps, His Royal Highness Barrister Mohammed Sani Omolori Ataba, the Chiroma of Ibira Land, and the Clerk of the National Assembly. Keynote Speaker, Brigadier General Tarela Boro, retired Special Advisor to the President on Niger Delta and Coordinator of the Presidential Amnesty Program. Speakers include Senator Shehu Sani, Mohammed Buhari, Secretary General, Youth African Parliamentarians Union, Anita Okemini, Policy Director, Inclusive Growth One Campaign. Date: Saturday, December 9th, 2017. Time: 11 a.m. Venue: Merit House, Agunye Ironsi Street, Maitama, Abuja. For inquiries, contact these numbers. Comrade Habib Mohammed, President General and Founder, Pan-African United Youth Development Network.
Thank you for staying with us on NTA Nationwide. Edo State government to situate health centers in markets across the state as correspondent examines child theft in Asaba. Details with Amenze in Benin. Hello Amenze, how are you doing?
I'm okay, Joy. Thank you for joining us in Benin. Edo State government is to establish primary healthcare centers in major markets in the state. Governor Godwin Obaseki made this known at a third meeting on implementation of action plan on prevention of neonatal deaths in the state. Ogochukuka Ona reports.
By key players was organized by the Reduce Neonatal Deaths Initiative, a pet project of the wife of the governor, Betsy Obaseki. Announcing the latest development, the governor reaffirmed his administration's commitment to reduce neonatal mortalities significantly, saying it has negative impacts on the economy of the nation. He assured the Edo people of his resolve to utilize scarce resources to actualize this objective.
Primary health care is our focus. But I want to show you that next year we will commence the reconstruction, rehabilitation of one primary health care center everywhere.
Wife of the governor commended the interest groups who have continued to show commitment to advancing the objectives of our pet project.
Some of this issue is being taken very seriously, and we're all hopeful that we're going to be good success in this state.
Project Coordinator, Reduce Neonatal Deaths Initiative, Dr. Bridget Okergwale, assured all that the project will help in addressing the problem in no small measure and commended the federal government for training 12 health workers who will in turn train 96 others across the state.
The federal government last year launched a course which we call Essential Newborn Care Course.
These projects, I think, is really more relevant for people who live in rural communities.
What we are making sure is that everyone that is pregnant gets adequate antenatal care.
Reports indicate that Nigeria records the second largest incidence of neonatal mortality with a rate of 37.1%. In Benin, Ogochukuka Ona, NTA News.
Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu has warned civil servants in the state to steer clear of partisan politics, which could negatively affect their career. The governor, who handed down the warning while swearing in 16 permanent secretaries, also directed the immediate promotion of civil servants who are due. Doris Olumoko reports.
The swearing-in of the 16 new permanent secretaries is coming 5 years after a similar exercise was carried out in the civil service of Ondo State. Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu urged the new permanent secretaries to use their position to salvage the service and express government determination to embark on aggressive revenue generation drive to execute its programs. He also dropped the cheering news that salaries and arrears will be paid to enable civil servants enjoy the Christmas celebration. The governor warned civil servants to completely forget politics and face their jobs.
We must try and do that. If others fail, some of us will not fail, because I believe it should be like that.
Ondo State Head of Service, Toyin Akikwotu, said the coming on board of the new permanent secretaries will help direct the service and lead to quantum leap in service delivery. Also at the forum, 3 members were constituted into the State Judicial Service Commission in Akure. Doris Olumoko, NTA News.
And from Ekiti State, the Police Commissioner Abdullahi Chafe has appealed to farmers in Okeako community in the Kole local government area of the state to be peaceful in their agitation over the destruction of their farms by herdsmen. He made the plea at the peace meeting with the farmers and leaders of the community. Ayodeji Ogunshaki reports.
With the farmers from Okeako Ekiti was equal to the destruction of their farm produce by the herdsmen who grazed on their farmland. The farmers lament loss on their farm produce, which has continued to have effects on their socio-economic life, running to millions of naira, counting their losses on farm produce like yam, guinea corn, rice, cassava, and maize.
These damages are done overnight. Leave your farm in the evening, come back the following morning, start weeping.
I'm a graduate of international relations. We plant, but the herdsmen
destroy our farm totally.
With a view to addressing the challenges amicably, the State Commissioner of Police at a meeting appreciated the community leaders and their traditional rulers for maintaining peace and for not taking laws into their hands.
We are doing everything possible to sustain the peaceful coexistence between the farmers and the Fulanis, particularly the settlers.
The state government enacted a law on Arctic grazing to checkmate the activities of herdsmen in the state. In Ado-Ekiti, Ayode Jogunshakin, NTA News.
And now to our last report from the Benin Network Center. 4 siblings narrowly escaped being abducted by a suspected child syndicate in Asaba, the Delta State capital. Odiri Ogboru Arutere reports.
The rate of child thefts these days is alarming, with too many reports filtering into the newsroom, both from the police and the parents of lost children. You can therefore imagine my state of mind when I witnessed this incident.
We questioned the man that who is those children to him. The man was saying that he don't know those children, that he saw them standing there. And now tell those children that they should come, let him enter, let them enter again and go. The children said that they didn't know the man. The man was kidnapper.
The children told NTA crew what happened.
Can't stop the first gate. The first gate can't stop. Can't stop the second one. Second one can't stop. Can't say more enter. No breeze. Like the map. Can't say more must enter. Since the entry of Ember months, we hear about cases of missing children. These missing children are sometimes taken away by their kidnappers for ritual and ransom purposes. Even after payments of ransom, some are still killed. In Asaba, Odiri Ogboru Arutere, NTA News.
That report concludes our contribution from the Benin Network Center. Joy, it's back to you.
Thank you, Amaze. Let's pause for another break. Stay with us.
Creative Youth Initiative Against Corruption presents CYIAC Corruption Busters, an initiative to promote culture of integrity in children, youth, and adults towards achieving global goals in 2030. Join us for the launch and movie premiere of CYIAC Corruption Busters to mark United Nations International Anti-Corruption Day. Date, 9 December 2017. Time, 3 p.m. Venue, Filmhouse IMAX Cinema, Bisola Durosimi Eti Drive, Lekki Phase 1, Lekki. Visit www.cyiac.com for details. Download CYIAC app to join our conversation and watch live stream of the event. Let's join hands together to make our nation great again. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Radio Nigeria, NTA and Voice of Nigeria set for another time of refreshing carol
at the National Christian Center, Abuja, on the 10th of December 2017 for our season of praise.
Theme: Jesus, our strength and peace.
Featuring the host choirs.
Other choral groups include the Can Choir, Foursquare Gospel Church Choir, and Special Women Church Choir.
Christmas message will be delivered by Reverend Felix Modoe, General Overseer, Foursquare Gospel Church.
The event will be graced by notable Nigerians, including His Excellency Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo, SAN. Red carpet starts 1 p.m. prompt.
The event selected for 3 p.m. prompt will be broadcast live. Free transport will be provided to and fro strategic locations. Keep a date with Radio Nigeria, NTA, and Voice of Nigeria on the 10th of December 2017.
Certainly, you'll be glad you did.
Thank you so much for inspiring greatness in me, Alhaji. I am just rehearsing, dear.
Rehearsing for what?
A life-changing and inspiring meeting.
With who?
Alhaji Aliko Dangote.
With the FG&I app and just 500 Naira, you stand a chance to meet one-on-one with Alhaji Aliko Dangote, Africa's richest man, and win cash prizes. As the Be Inspired meetings give Nigerians a chance to meet one-on-one with icons. To qualify for the draw, Download FGNI app from Apple Store or Google Play Store. Go to the Be Inspired section and follow the instructions. Cost of travel and accommodation of all winners within Nigeria will be borne by the organizers. Terms and conditions apply.
Proudly supported by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Men say they cannot be under women who make more money than them.
God forbid.
No, my husband cannot be lazy and spending my money.
I put food on the table for you to open your large mouth and eat.
My husband should not be intimidated by my success.
You're still the head of the family, irrespective of your financial status.
Says another group of women.
If you marry woman, we will pass you.
And the debate and opinions go on and on. Your rib-cracking comedy, Professor John Bull, takes a very comic and educative look at this episode titled Breadwinner and laugh like never before.
My love for you has no limits.
No mind what in this man they talk. 90% of what man they tell woman when they toast up. Nah lie. I think I don't buy a table.
Because what I do you now? Eh?
The Francais.
Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow.
The largest data network. Glow. Unlimited.
Welcome back. It is still NTA Nationwide on the network service. Towards curbing incessant herdsmen and farmers' clashes, Kogi State government has directed the inclusion of Fulani leaders in the State Council of Chiefs. Governor Yahya Bello, who gave the directive, said the measure has become imperative to ensure mutual trust and bridge communication gap between herdsmen and their host communities. Onoto Ishak has the details.
Kogi State, like some states in the country, has had its own share of herdsmen-farmers crisis that resulted in loss of lives and property. A number of factors, particularly mutual distrust between the two parties, have been identified as some of the causes. To bridge the communication gap and stem the tide of violent clashes, the state government has directed traditional councils at all levels in the state to include Fulani representatives in their councils.
Anywhere there is such clash again, we will take very harsh measures, including dethroning any traditional ruler who cannot secure his domain.
The Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs is to work out modalities for the inclusion.
He has directed that Fulanis that are here in Kogi doing their business, that we should carry out biometric data of the Fulanis. With this, they will be able to come out with a representative which will at the end of the day be included either at the local government traditional council, area traditional council, or State Council of Chiefs meeting.
The initiative is one which the State Council of Chiefs, led by its president and Atai Gala, Idako Michael Ameoboni II, described as a move in the right direction and encouraged the lower councils to support it through information gathering that will lead to a lasting solution. The state government is of the high hopes that the move will ultimately lead to a situation where parties in the crisis would carry out their legitimate businesses devoid of fears and violence in the communities. In Lokoja, Onotu Yakub, NTA News.
Up next is foreign news.
You're welcome to the segment of the news. The ordeal of Nigerians and other African nationals caught in the web of the new slave trade in Libya has continued to send shockwaves across the world. The European Union and the United Nations said they are not only set to stop the trade but also tackle the humanitarian crisis associated to it. Reports say International Organization for Migration, IOM, is collaborating with European nations, Italy and Libyan coast guards to prevent boats that smuggle migrants and refugees from Libya to Europe. At the moment, IOM estimates that between 400,000 and 1 million migrants that have found their ways into Libya are in detention centers.
And this is where we have to be very careful the way we do our things. There shouldn't be any shortcuts to traveling abroad. if we're looking for shortcuts, you're looking for danger in that respect. So for illegal travels, people, they kind of take hard ways of, going through their travel, itineraries, traveling through roads, in the desert, which is really very dangerous. We know we have bandits and all sort of people there. Because people know that you are illegal in their country, they tend to use you and abuse you. And this is what we are telling our people to try and protect themselves from. If you travel illegally, you get to somebody's country, they know you do not have the papers or the permits to work, then they can give you any kind of job to do.
Away from that, Zimbabwe's new government is set to unveil its first budget since the fall of long-serving ruler Robert Mugabe. It comes a day after Finance Minister Patrick Chinamasa signed a $153 million loan agreement with China to upgrade international airports in the capital, Harare, in a bid to attract investors and tourists. That does it on the segment. The news continues.
And for sports, let's join Tamara Ebiwe as our guide.
The International Cricket Council, ICC Africa, has pledged to support Nigeria in developing infrastructure for the growth of the game. The pledge was made midweek in Abuja by a delegation of ICC Africa who are in the country on a working visit to ascertain areas of collaboration with the Nigeria Cricket Federation.
With us working with Nigeria Cricket, we can really, go up, to the top and compete globally.
The maiden edition of Federal Education Sector Games is in progress in Lafia, Nasarawa State, with 12 out of the 21 agencies of the Federal Ministry of Education competing in 10 events. Deputy Governor of Nasarawa State, Silas Agara, who declared the games open, stressed the need for improved partnership and investment from the private sector for the revitalization of the nation's sporting industry.
Sport, especially school sporting activities, has served as avenue which facilitated the discovery of young men and women that have made this country proud.
Ahead of its official launch in Nigeria on the 11th of December in Abuja, betting company iBet has signed a one-year memorandum of understanding with NTA Star TV network, StarTimes in Abuja.
We want to go all out to look for young talents, particularly in football. Then we intend to build neighborhood sports centers, or the small mini centers in areas where we feel our youths are probably going to need it.
Over 5,000 Nigerians will be employed in the process, as the company plans to invest in neighborhood sporting competitions that will see identified talents given the chance to hone their skills outside the shores